With the announcement of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle's engagement, the British royal family has officially entered the 21st century. Now, the paparazzi had been following the courtship for 15 long months. And the rumor mills had been buzzing. But now, finally, the engagement was announced on November 27th.
It's official. Prince Harry is all set to marry the love of his life, Meghan Markle, in spring 2018. And with this announcement, Prince Harry has lost his status of Britain's most eligible bachelor.
It happened a few weeks ago, earlier this month, here at our cottage. Just a standard, typical night for us.
It's a cozy night. It was what we were doing, just roasting chicken and
Roasting
having
a chicken, trying to roast a chicken.
trying to roast a chicken, and it was just an amazing surprise. It was so sweet and natural and very romantic. He got on one knee.
Of course.
Was it an instant yes from you?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I could barely let you finish proposing. I said, "Can I say yes now?"
She didn't even let me finish. She said, "Can I say yes? Can I say yes now?" And then there was hugs, and I had the ring in my finger, and I was like, "Can I give you the ring?" She was, "Oh yes, the ring." So no, it was a really nice moment. It was just the two of us, and I think I managed to catch it by surprise as well. So.
Yeah, well, very excited, delighted for them both, and wishing them all the happiness in this very exciting time.
It's a really happy time for any couple, and we wish them all the best and hope they enjoy this happy moment.
No, we're thrilled, thank you very much, to both of them. So I hope they'll be very happy indeed, is all I can say.
Brilliant. And as I said, America's loss is our gain, and we're all absolutely delighted.
The ring is obviously yellow gold because that's her favourite, and the main stone itself I sourced from Botswana, and the little diamonds either side are from my mother's jewellery collection to make sure that she's with us on this crazy journey together. And
It's beautiful, and he designed it. It's incredible.
Yeah.
While the couple announced their engagement on 27th November, it didn't really come as a surprise, as the duo had been making headlines for quite some time now. Despite their attempts to keep the romance as private as possible, the lovebirds were spotted together on a number of occasions, setting the rumor mills abuzz. Speculation was rife ever since they were pictured together at the Invictus Games opening ceremony in September. But it was in July 2016 that they were first introduced by a mutual friend.
We first met, we were introduced actually by a mutual friend who
We should protect her privacy and
protect her
not
privacy,
reveal
yeah.
too much of that.
And but it was through her, and then we met once and then twice back to back, 2 dates in London last July.
Yes.
Beginning of July, and then it was I think about 3, maybe 4 weeks later that I managed to persuade her to come and join me in Botswana, and we camped out with each other under the stars. She came and joined me for 5 days out there, which was absolutely fantastic. So then we were really by ourselves, which was crucial to me to make sure that we had a chance to get to know each other.
Yeah.
So it was in Botswana that the relationship really blossomed, and by October 2016, the press had already gotten a whiff of the affair. On 8th November 2016, in an unprecedented move, the Royal Kensington Palace released a public statement in which Markle was referred to as Harry's girlfriend for the first time. And the statement went on to condemn the wave of abuse and harassment Markle had been subjected to.
Well, I mean, I think also because there's a misconception that because I have worked in the entertainment industry that this would be something I would be familiar with. But even though I'd been on my show for, I guess, 6 years at that point, and working before that, I've never been part of tabloid culture. I've never been in pop culture to that degree, and lived relatively quiet life, even though I focused so much on my job. And so that was a really stark difference out of the gate. But and I think we were just hit so hard at the beginning with a lot of mistruths that I made the choice to not read anything, positive or negative. It just didn't make sense, and instead we focused all of our energies just on nurturing our relationship.
On us, yeah.
On us.
By December 2016, the paparazzi managed to spot the couple together. By this time, the world knew that the duo was dating, but an official word for them was still awaited, which finally came in September 2017 when Meghan appeared on the cover of Vanity Fair. In the same month, they made their official first appearance together at the Invictus Games. While at the opening ceremony, the duo sat several rows apart. In the next appearance at the Games, they sat together, enjoying the company.
The fact that I fell in love with Meghan so incredibly quickly was a sort of confirmation to me that everything, all the stars were aligned, everything was just perfect. It was this beautiful woman just sort of literally tripped and fell into my life. I fell into her life. And the fact that I know the fact that she'll be really unbelievably good at the job part of it as well, is obviously a huge relief to me, because she'll be able to deal with everything else that comes with it. But no, you know, we're a fantastic team. We know we are, and we hope to, you know, over time, try and have as much impact for all the things that we care about as much as possible.
I am very excited about that, yeah.
This royal match is interesting in light of the fact that Prince Harry's great-grand-uncle, the Emperor Edward VIII, abdicated his throne in favor of Prince Harry's great-grandfather. And why did he abdicate? Because he wanted to marry a divorced socialite, Wallis Simpson. Now, Meghan Markle is also a divorcee, and she's a biracial American.
In wanting to marry the love of his life, Meghan Markle, Prince Harry isn't following a traditional path. Meghan isn't from the royal family, but nor is she a commoner. The 36-year-old actor, soon to be Her Royal Highness, Princess Henry of Wales, is an American and a divorcee. She's a global ambassador for the World Vision Canada, and as UN Women's advocate for political participation and leadership, Meghan has been a campaigner for gender equality for years now.
I want to tell you a story that'll sort of give context to my being here and my work with UN Women. When I was just 11 years old, I unknowingly and somehow accidentally became a female advocate. It was around the same time as the Beijing conference, so a little over 20 years ago, where in my hometown of Los Angeles, a pivotal moment reshaped my notion of what is possible. See, I had been in school watching a TV show in elementary school, and this commercial came on with the tagline for this dishwashing liquid, and the tagline said, Women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans. 2 boys from my class said, "Yeah, that's where women belong, in the kitchen." I remember feeling shocked and angry, and also just feeling so hurt. It just wasn't right, and something needed to be done. So I went home and I told my dad what had happened. And he encouraged me to write letters. So I did, to the most powerful people I could think of. Now, my 11-year-old self worked out that if I really wanted someone to hear me, well, then I should write a letter to the First Lady. So off I went, scribbling away to our First Lady at the time, Hillary Clinton. I also put pen to paper and I wrote a letter to my news source at the time, Linda Ellerby, who hosted a kids' news program, and then to powerhouse attorney Gloria Allred, because even at 11, I wanted to cover all my bases. Finally, I wrote to the soap manufacturer. And a few weeks went by, and to my surprise, I received letters of encouragement from Hillary Clinton, from Linda Ellerby, and from Gloria Allred. It was amazing. The kids' news show, they sent a camera crew to my home to cover the story. And it was roughly a month later when the soap manufacturer, Procter & Gamble, changed the commercial for their Ivory Clear dishwashing liquid. They changed it from "Women all over America are fighting greasy pots and pans" to "People all over America." It was at that moment that I realized the magnitude of my actions. At the age of 11, I had created my small level of impact by standing up for equality.
Meghan was born in Los Angeles to a therapist and social worker, Doria Radlin, and cinematographer Thomas W. Markle. Her parents split when she was 2. She attended a private primary school before studying at a girls' Roman Catholic college and later graduating from Northwestern University School of Communication in 2003. Apart from a few television series, Meghan has also acted in several Hollywood movies, but she is most famous for her role as Rachel Zane in US legal drama Suits. Markle has been in Suits since the show began in 2011. Markle was previously married to American film producer Trevor Engelson for nearly 2 years. They divorced in 2013. Ironically, her ex-husband is now producing a new TV show which is based on a man's custody battle with his ex-wife, who marries into the British royal family.
It's time for a short break. When we come back, we'll talk about royal setbacks. If you thought that the royal family, they don't suffer setbacks, I think you have another thing coming. Because you see, when Edward VIII abdicated, the entire royal family was mighty peeved, but they sort of adjusted to it. And what happened was, Edward opened a door that after 8 decades, when another prince of the House of Windsor is marrying a commoner out of love, the royal family is a bit more considerate, they're better adjusted than they were when Edward abdicated.
Nearly a century ago, Windsor Castle was rocked by the king's sudden declaration of his love. It brought chaos. King Edward VIII abdicated his monarchy of 11 months for the love of his life.
I discharged my last duty as King and Emperor. And now that I have been succeeded by my brother, the Duke of York, my first words must be to declare my allegiance to him.
She was an American divorcee who was at the time of abdication fighting another divorce from her second husband. King Edward VIII, as the head of the church in England, couldn't marry her, as at that point the church did not allow marriage of any divorcee where the previous spouse was still alive. King Edward became Duke of Windsor and married Wallis Simpson, and they lived a full life together on the other shore of the Atlantic in the US. Barely 2 decades would pass before the Windsor Castle would once again witness another love mutiny in the royal family. The year King George VI passed away and Queen Elizabeth II ascended the throne, her 22-year-old unmarried sister sought her blessings for her love match with group captain Peter Townsend. Peter Townsend too was a divorcee, with his previous spouse alive. The Queen couldn't again grant her permission to this couple to its happy ending. Princess Margaret too finally declined to marry group captain Townsend on the face of vehement protest emanating from public and royal family.
I would like it to be known that I have decided not to marry Group Captain Peter Townsend, and conscious of my duty to the Commonwealth, I have resolved.
Prince Anne, Queen's second child and only daughter, had a troubled love life. Princess Anne's marriage to Mark Phillips was smooth sailing in the beginning before storms started to brew, and in 1989, the couple declared their intention to separate. In April 1992, they were divorced. Princess married her love interest of the time, Timothy Lawrence, in December that year. She met Lawrence during the troubled years of her first marriage. Letters that surfaced later spoke volumes about the relationship that the two enjoyed while Princess was still married to Phillips. But more talked about and famous is the triangular relationship of Prince Charles, Princess Diana, and Camilla Parker Bowles. Prince Charles met Camilla before he married Diana. After a brief rendezvous, Camilla accepted Andrew Parker Bowles' proposal and married him. Prince Charles, it is said, was heartbroken and went on to marry Diana.
That's a way, isn't it, really? Just delighted and happy. And I'm amazed that she's been brave enough to take me on. And I suppose in love. Of course. Whatever in love means.
When Diana got to know about his love for Camilla, their marriage, that was rocky from day one, suffered irrevocable damage. Charles and Camilla continued their affair, sometimes successfully hidden, but more often exposed by the paparazzi. Princess Diana, in the meantime, became the darling of people all over the world as the living legend of lovelorn, lonely princess. Her interviews at times hinted at her troubled marriage, but the palace sternly looked the other way always, till it was too much. And finally, the Queen had to accept that both her children have failed marriages and are involved in affairs which are public, and the royal household cannot afford to ignore the call of the time to reinvent its archaic rules. So in 1992, after Princess Anne's divorce the same year in December, the then Prime Minister John Major announced in the Parliament that both Prince Charles and Princess Diana intend to separate after an intimate phone conversation of Princess Diana became public. The Queen finally gave her consent to the divorce 3 years later. Diana, after her divorce, was involved in a heady love affair with Hasnat Khan from Pakistan and was even said to have secretly visited his family during her trip to Lahore. The relationship allegedly lasted for 2 years before Dodi Al-Fayed happened. And within months, she met with a fatal motor accident in Paris.
Not just here in Britain, everywhere. They kept faith with Princess Diana. They liked her, they loved her. They regarded her as one of the people. She was the people's princess. And that's how she will stay, how she will remain in our hearts and in our memories.
7.5 years after Diana's death, Prince Charles married the love of his life, Camilla Parker Bowles, with the Queen's consent. The struggle and the heartburn that all these men and women had to go through in the past century has finally paved way for Prince Harry to announce his wish to marry his love, Meghan Markle, who too happens to be a divorcee with her spouse alive and who also happens to be an actress with the royal blessing.
She's American and
she's an actress, but we don't watch the programme.
Yeah,
but I know there's been quite a lot of coverage of her, hasn't there?
But I think it's a good thing. I mean, if you compare back to what happened to, you know, Wallis Simpson and even Princess Margaret, I mean, I think this is a really good thing.
They are therefore the royal couple of the season.
Well, that's a lot of British royal history. But as we close this show, let's take a quick reaction from Prince William, Harry's elder brother. What does he think of all this?
For me personally, I hope it means he stays out of my fridge and stop him scrounging off all my food he's done over the last few years. So, pretty excited.